My 46 female husband is not originally from my country. He came here with our daughter after his first wife died. She was a young tween when we first met. We're very close. She is a lovely child. She just turned 18 2 weeks ago. My in-laws came to visit us 2 weeks ago. I noticed something was off when they started talking about her being ready for marriage. They said it jokingly at first, like they were testing her reaction. She just laughed it off, but they started hinting so heavily that my daughter started getting uncomfortable. So I told them to stop. They didn't like that and told me she wasn't my daughter. I got upset and told them they could leave if they didn't stop. I told my husband, and he backed me up and told them enough about that. They ended up arguing and saying they wanted to take my daughter back to their country to marry a man in his late 30s who was looking for a wife. They told me I was being disrespectful to their culture and that I needed to understand. My daughter was shocked and said she would not go back and marry a man that old. They told her she's grown up spoiled. I threatened to call the police, and my husband said he would deal with it. He left with his parents. When he came back, he was quiet. I asked what happened, and he said he had sorted it out. My daughter and I started getting threatening calls from unknown numbers. We told my husband, and he got us to change the numbers. We also had to shut down social media. Then my daughter said she felt like a man from her culture was watching her while she worked. We told my husband, and he went to where she worked, but he didn't appear again. Then 2 days ago, my husband came home looking stressed, set my daughter down, and said maybe she could consider the marriage. She got rightfully upset, and I got angry. I packed my bag and told my daughter to do the same. We found a place to stay, and we feel safer now than when we were at home. My husband has been ringing and texting and asking where we are. He said I can't keep his daughter from him. I do miss my husband, and he's saying to come home, but I refuse, and my daughter feels the same. I just feel confused and hurt. Am I the idiot for hiding my stepdaughter after my in-laws said I was disrespecting their culture by refusing to let my stepdaughter marry a man twice her age? She's 18 now, so legally, he doesn't have a foot to stand on. If she wants to go no contact for her protection, she absolutely should. I'm sorry you both must go to such lengths for her safety, but you're amazing for fighting so hard for her and her autonomy. You're definitely not the idiot, OP. You're a hero, in my opinion. It sounds like they're trying to abduct her at this point, and that's terrifying. I had a coworker go through this with his daughter when his wife visited her family in a foreign country. They knew darn well they were planning on forcing her into marriage with a family friend and used every trick they could to get her over there. It's a lot more common than it seems, especially in cultures where arranged marriages are handled by the parents. You still have rights in Western nations. Husband came home looking stressed and set my daughter down and said maybe she should consider the marriage. Is OP's husband being blackmailed? Or will his relatives have large debts that'll be taken care of if the daughter marries this man? He should tell his wife if this was happening. Sounds like the in-laws either made a promise of some kind or are in financial trouble, and the dude has the means to cover for them. Her dad seems to know and is willing to sell his daughter off. OP, you're the parent needed here. Run as far as possible and get a quick divorce. That is outright dangerous. Report this to the police in your country and the authority who takes charge of passports. Lawyer for advice. Something is going on, and your husband's being blackmailed, or his parents are, and you need urgent safety advice. I'll 27 female, be getting married in the next year. No date finalized yet. Originally, I had planned to have my stepdad and my paternal grandpa share the father of the bride duties because my dad's been dead since I was 6 years old, and my stepdad has been there for me almost as long. However, my grandpa is hugely important and has played the role of the most important man in my life after my dad. My stepdad did not want to share the role, and he wanted the walk down the aisle and the father-daughter dance to be just us. He told me he was not okay with my grandpa doing things either alone or with him. He told me when it came down to it, he was the real dad in my life since I was 7 years old. While he might not biologically be my dad, he's been married to my mom and taking care of me for 20 years, and he's also the father to all my siblings, and his place in my life should be honored and not shared with a grandparent just because I lost my dad. So I told him I would just have grandpa then. There was more to the conversation, and it came back up during my mom's birthday dinner. He mentioned it in front of his family, aka his parents and siblings, as well as my mom and my mom's family. He told me he wanted to be the father of the bride, walk me down the aisle, a father-daughter dance, a toast, and everything that comes traditionally with this. Because he brought it up in front of them, and I was slightly annoyed by him bringing it up again without clarifying he was okay with sharing the role, I told him no again. I also told him I'd already asked Grandpa. This was in front of both families, and a debate started. Once I realized I was hated for saying no by his family, and some of my mom's family, including my mom, disliked that I just couldn't let him do it, but some were on my side, I decided to leave. My stepdad told me I had humiliated him and made the dinner all about me. I said he brought it up first, and he told me kindness and decency would suggest I not turn him down in front of everyone. I also got a very angry message from one of his siblings and another from the same sibling on behalf of his parents. They told me I had no business treating him this way. When I didn't reply to this person either time, my stepdad told me I was going out of my way to behave inappropriately and to hurt him. The importance of my paternal family in my life has always been an issue for my stepdad and his family, but especially the importance of my grandpa. For many years, my stepdad has been jealous, and his family has commented that I shouldn't need my grandpa because I have my stepdad. His family has expressed their dislike for me several times because I have the relationship with grandpa that they feel I should have with their son. My stepdad expected an apology, and when he didn't get one, he told me yet again that he didn't like my behavior at the dinner. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You actually did ask him to participate as a father in your wedding. He should be happy that you have a great relationship with your grandpa as well, and it makes no sense for him to be jealous. In a sense, he rejected being there for you because he decided he'd rather act like a kid than actually be there for his daughter. I'm sorry that you have to go through this, OP. It's hard to set boundaries when surrounded by toxic people, but you did it, and you should be proud of yourself. So, who's paying for the wedding? If I were to take this at face value, I'd absolutely say not the idiot. But I feel like before this, it seemed like you had a good relationship with your stepdad. Something just feels off. If he's jealous, maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's something you didn't tell us. He clearly loves you like his own, or he wouldn't have been so hurt. I just feel like there's a bigger picture, and we're not seeing it. My sister Nicole, 34, brought her new boyfriend Steve to our family cookout yesterday. It's for about 30 people. Everyone brought sides. My sister brought one bag of store-brand potato chips. Steve helped himself to beer right away before being introduced to everyone. We're having hamburgers and hot dogs and just hanging out with the family. It's nothing fancy. Steve asked, "Is this it?" when the first plate of hot dogs is done and waiting on the rounds of hamburgers. My wife says there'll be hamburgers soon, and Steve tells my wife and sister about his family and how they have barbecue chicken, steak, shrimp, and many options. I picked up the plate of hot dogs and told Steve he could leave and go to his family barbecue instead. He just looked at me and drank his beer, and I told him and my sister to go since this wasn't good enough for Steve. I returned my sister's store-bought potato chips and told her to leave. My sister and Steve left, and the cookout was fine after that. My mom heard about me kicking them out and was mad at me and told me to apologize to my sister. Maybe there was a misunderstanding, but Steve was just an idiot commenting like that at someone's house, and this is the first time you meet their family. My wife thinks I was right because Steve acted like that in her home, and insulting the host is a good reason to get kicked out. Others are split 50-50 when they hear about what happened. Not the idiot. They brought a bag of chips, drank beer they didn't provide, and thought you were cheap? Rude, entitled, and deserved the treatment they received. Anyone who thinks you're wrong can invite them to their next party. Store-brand chips? Not even Ruffles or Lay's. Not even Pringles. Just the generic store brand? And they're calling OP cheap? I've had to kick a dude out of my dinner party. I told an ex-friend to take her boyfriend and leave because he clearly hadn't been house-trained well enough, given that he felt comfortable insulting a host in their own home. in addition to showing up uninvited and leaving urine all over my bathroom floor because you're a girl, you're supposed to clean up after guests? Because you're a girl? Oh, heck no. How refreshing it is to find someone with a healthy spine here. Mom, you're more than welcome to let sister's name's boyfriend insult you in your home, but he won't do it in mine. Perfect response to Mom. This is the perfect response to anyone who thinks OP was wrong. I'll be honest. If I were OP, I would have been offended, but I probably wouldn't have kicked them out. Then again, I'm a people pleaser. Most likely I would have said something like, well, I look forward to attending your next family barbecue so you can show us how it's done, and left it at that. Having said that, OP was not the idiot at all. Your house, your rules. And there are few things tackier than criticizing your host about the quality of the gathering they've graciously invited you to attend. It all started a few months ago. My wife, 40, told me, male 39, that her boss was madly in love with her. My wife and I laughed about it. We joked about it. I said, that's a great compliment. Good for you. Just be careful. I knew they were good friends and trusted my wife 110%. Fast forward to a few weeks later. Her boss called her at night, 9:00 p.m. I said, just pick up, maybe it's important. She didn't and reacted overly. No, I'm here with you. She opened her messages and was trying to delete a message. This is the moment I grabbed the phone and read the messages. She was furious, accusing me of breaching her privacy and such. This is when I saw it. Messages from him saying I miss you and hearts being sent back and forth. She lied that they were just friends, and as I know, he's in love with her. So, according to her, there's nothing to worry about. I made her swear on our children that they didn't kiss, and there it was, silence. She admitted it. Days later, I heard, after asking for it, more and more details. They kissed multiple times. He kissed her multiple times on the neck and hugged her for long periods. There was no intimacy. I think I believe that part. You have to know that my wife is very insecure about work. She's only had jobs for 1 to 2 years, and finally, she landed this job where everything was great. So I was very supportive in every way. I started working less to be there for our 3 children, and she could work more, etc. I can tell the most important thing is that she genuinely loves the job. So we came to a consensus to working there. It's a very small company, but phew, I found it challenging. I started to look over her shoulder at what he was messaging and such. Not a great place to be. And then it all went south. We went on a family trip, just the kids and us. And in hindsight, she texted him back and forth every single day. He texts things like, I wish I knew you earlier, etc. She was so distracted the whole holiday, even though she reacted a bit coldly to him. Directly after the holiday, we agreed that she could only continue to work there if they could keep it professional and have no one-on-one contact on the weekends or after 7 p.m. With this agreement, I felt a bit better. And now this weekend, I found out that they are calling every day, Saturday and Sunday, behind my back. She said that they're sharing feelings because she feels safe with him, not with me, and he understands me. She also said she has certain feelings for him. Now, 2 weeks ago, I'm done with it, and I asked her to quit seeing him completely, and thus stop her job, or it's me quitting our relationship, because I can't handle it anymore. The lying, etc. She's furious at me, saying I want to put her in a cage, and what kind of monster am I to decide which friend she has? For clarity, I never made her stop a friendship until now. Also, she thinks I'll take the children away from her completely. Obviously, I won't, and will ruin her financially. I won't. Am I really a monster for asking her to quit contact with her boss, and in her words, a very good friend, and giving this ultimatum? I don't know anymore. Am I the idiot? Edit. I forgot to mention that her boss is married and has a newborn baby with his wife. The poor girl. Not the idiot. You aren't a monster, but you're pretty dumb for putting up with this and staying with her. She's definitely having an affair with her boss. If you have self-respect, leave. Kids are better off with separated happy parents than parents trapped in a marriage who hate each other. Yeah, she's been banging him at work at the very least. Screw that dude. She's using OP. He needs to get the heck out of there. What do people do when caught in a lie? Get defensive. She's 1,000,000% having an affair with him. Kissing? LOL. 40-year-olds are acting like preteens. I don't buy it for a second. Then she continues to go behind his back to chat with her boss? Sorry, OP. It's already over. You're just too stupid to want to realize it. Man, OP is going to do a few months of the pick me dance. She'll spend a few months gaslighting him. His brain will tell him the truth, but his heart will want to accept her gaslighting as truth. Before OP realizes it, he'll just be a shadow of the man he once was. She'll be in total limerence, and OP will be left out in the cold with no home, no family, and still no spine. Good luck to you. My son came to me with a foolproof investment. I told him it was not a great idea. He said he had a lot of money in his education fund, and I should just give it to him. He was fresh out of high school and not in post-secondary. If we had taken money out and he wasn't in school, there was a pretty big tax hit. I told him that I would loan him the money, but that if his investment didn't pay off, then he'd have to pay me back from his education fund. I figured it was safe since he can't get the money unless he's in school. We wrote up a contract for the loan, including nominal interest. His foolproof investment went poof. He got a job. It turns out that working for a living is harder than school. It's been 2 years and he's going to community college this fall. He managed to save up exactly $0 from 2 years of work. He did have a string of girlfriends and a few vacations, though. I told him he had to pay me back before he emptied the account. He got upset that I was taking his money meant for his education. I asked him how much money would be in the account if I had let him invest it. He didn't have an answer. I got my money, but he was angry. His mother's upset that I'm holding him accountable. I told her she could pay me back the loan and he could have all the money in the account. She hung up. I could afford to write off the money. It is substantial but not crippling to my future. But I need him to understand that money isn't free. Am I the idiot for holding my son to a contract and making him pay me back from his education fund? Edit. He was 18, and I told him it was a bad idea. He also only lost $7,500. He has enough to pay for university. He just won't have money for extras without working. Not the idiot. He and his mother are just angry that you didn't provide the money free of consequences. If you bail your kids out financially every time they screw up, they will never learn anything. They'll keep failing through their adult life. So you did your son a favor, and he can always come back for more loans. But the next time, he'll think through all that much more carefully and will know about the consequences. A grown darn man letting his 18-year-old son waste a college fund on what he clearly knows is a stupid investment is pretty idiotic behavior. You are the idiot. Would you expect an 18-year-old to understand the risk of starting a business? If he did succeed, it would have been a mildly newsworthy event. He almost certainly believed it was foolproof. He put his money where his mouth was, after all. But surprise, surprise, an 18-year-old didn't yet have the experience to conquer the world. I can't believe the "you are the idiot" response here. You are definitely not the idiot. I don't see how anyone could see it any other way. You told him the investment was a bad idea, and he signed a loan agreement and paid it back. That was an expensive lesson for him, but clearly it was a lesson he needed to learn. The fact that it was described as a foolproof investment shows that he's either disingenuous or has no idea what he's talking about. A gamble with a positive expectation? Sure. Foolproof? LOL, no.